Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited number 27. Now, this question is from the most recent SAT. It's considered hard, but like all hard questions on the SAT, almost all hard questions, it's not actually that hard. It's something that we can do a couple different ways. We're going to talk about in a little bit the relationship between 3x minus 2 and 9x minus 6. Yeah, they have a relationship. Yeah, they've known each other for a while, and they're trying to go to the next level with their relationship. But in the meantime, we can do it in a traditional way. Let's just remember, just while we're doing it in this traditional way, that there's something useful about the relationship between 9x minus 6 and 3x minus 2. Okay, so if we're doing it in the traditional way, what we're going to do is multiply the stuff in parentheses by 2/3. And you could do that in pieces by multiplying by 2 and then dividing by 3, or you could just do it at once if you're real slick. Don't feel like you got to be slick here. Just make sure you get the question right. But in the meantime, if we're going to be slick, 2/3 times 9x is 6x, and 2/3 times -6 is -4. Don't forget the -4 out here. That's the first thing that's easy to mess up. I don't know. When we talk about it out loud, it doesn't seem like you could mess it up, but trust me, it's very doable. I've seen it done. So this is our expression. I'm going to simplify it by combining those -4s and saying 6x minus 8 equals 9x minus 6. And now we're well on our way. Of course, this is pretty simple at this point. Subtract 6x from both sides. Add 6 to both sides, and you can do this in separate steps, but I'm a bit impetuous. It's hard to get me to kind of move in small steps like I should. So here we go. -2 equals 3x. Right? And if that's right, then I can divide by 3 on both sides and say -2/3 equals x. And then I can put that value in the place of x in my original function. Now, a lot of people get this and they go, woohoo, I'm done. Yay, I got it. Going to Harvard. Right? But there's one more step. And so that's a really, really important thing to notice on this test. This is the Eureka moment mistake. Eureka. That refers to Archimedes, who yelled, I've got it, or Eureka is what he yelled because he didn't speak English, because he was a Greek dude a really long time ago. And Archimedes yelled, I've got it, when he found out a way of measuring the purity of gold. I think that's what it was. But either way, he said, I've got it, Eureka, and people who think, Eureka, I've got it, get this question wrong. Of course, we're only one step away, and you've probably already done the math in your head by now. 3 times our x value of -2/3 minus 2. That's what we're looking for, 3x minus 2. And of course, now you can cross off these 3's and just say -2 minus 2. If you don't know why I'm crossing off these 3's, it's because multiplication and division happen at the same level. You could do them in any order. So we're really saying 3 times -2 divided by 3. And so if we're multiplying by 3 and dividing by 3, those cancel. We get -2 minus 2 equals -4. And there's our answer. So if you want to do it in the traditional way, that's great. And in this question, I would not argue against the traditional way. The traditional way is fine, as long as you don't fall into the Eureka moment mistake, which you just got to be aware of it as a mistake. Anytime you get a value for x or y, just know that there may be more to the problem and make sure that you check in with that, particularly on questions that are supposedly difficult. You can know it's supposedly difficult because of where it is in the test. Number 27 is supposed to be hard. And then just know that there's probably a little bit more work to do, right? So, but let's talk about the relationship between 9x minus 6 and 3x minus 2, because that's super important. 3x minus 2, if you just multiplied it by 3, you get 9x minus 6, right? So one thing you can do here, it's sort of like substitution. You can say, well, let's just call 3x minus 2. That's our answer. That's what we want to get. So I'm going to call it A for answer. And then if I go back to my original equation, look, 2/3, 9x minus 6, I'm just going to replace that with 3a, 3 times the answer. Now, the nice thing about this is I've eliminated the Eureka moment mistake. Now I'm solving, instead of for x, I'm solving straight up for my answer, a. And there's something else really nice about this. Of course, it's 3a in parentheses minus 4 equals 3a. Now, the same way we could cancel out the 3's back over here, we can do the same thing here. 2/3 of 3a is just cancel these out. 2a minus 4 equals 3a. Subtract 2a from both sides. And of course, we get negative 4 equals a. A is our answer. No worries about Eureka moment mistake, and we're done. Right? So, look, you can do it in the traditional way. No problem with doing this question traditionally. I just want you to be aware that it's really, really easy to make a mistake with the traditional method. Right? So, and also, I also want to just note that this thing about 3x minus 2 and 9x minus 6, this comes up in a bunch of places where this approach is not just as good. It's not equivalent in terms of efficiency. So there's questions, particularly a lot of times on systems of equations questions, and you could kind of call this something like systems of equations if you just write these a little bit differently as like y equals each of these. They could be systems. But on systems of equations questions, you got to look for those patterns, some way that you can relate expressions like 3x minus 2 and 9x minus 6. So see if you can find another one. They're all over the test. I'm telling you guys, these questions, it's all about seeing patterns. And so if you can see these patterns, you're more likely to get stuff right. You're more likely to avoid mistakes like thinking that the negative 2/3 is your final answer. And you're more likely to save a bunch of time on a bunch of different styles of systems of equations. So email us, get in touch on YouTube or on Skype, whatever's easy, and just see if you can find other questions. We'd be happy to make a little video, and then you can show your friends and be like, check out how cool I am. I'm so smart. I noticed this thing before the tutor guys noticed this thing. So email us or get in touch in any way you want. And happy studying.